Rab-Al-Thani 1337, a strong and enemy crusher verdict against the British colonialism. On this day, precisely on Rab-Al-Thani 20th in 1337, the issuance of Sheikh Muhammad Taqi Shirazi's verdict trembled the old and firm bedrock of the old and oppressive British colonialism. The British colonizers, through deceitful policies, trickery, casting aversion among strong and wide-awake Iraqis, and under the excuse of freedom via caste elections, tried to dominate over Iraq's political destiny. Consequently, British colonialism announced throughout the entire Iraq that they are to build up Iraq, and they also, with the purpose of contributing the nation of Iraq and achieving common prosperity and bright horizons, try to pave the way for expansion and reformation for this country. Ayatollah Sheikh Muhammad Taqi Shirazi, to stand against the deception and ominous plot, did his best to fight with the colonizers. He also issued famous, fierce yet eloquent and brief verdict and said, "No Muslim is religiously allowed to designate a non-Muslim as a leader to rule over Muslims." Rabiul Awwal 24, 1337, Muhammad Taqi Shirazi. It is just to look into the book called Haqiqat al-Nisa, page 81, in which this verdict has been recorded in history. This verdict was the first spiritual bullet through which people were invited for jihad and uprising. It had been issued 10,000 copies, and it had been also distributed in cities, villages, houses, and everywhere. This stirred up the sense of patriotism in the hearts of Iraqi people. It also made British colonizers pathetically withdraw from policies in a way that their leaders were seriously defamed. From then on, many of their followers turned their back to those policies and came to visit Ayatollah Shirazi to ask for forgiveness for the sins they committed. Revolution's Commanding Committee. Ayatollah Muhammad Taqi Shirazi, after issuing the crushing verdict to lead the revolution, established a committee. He made this committee to consult and to give orders to the fighters. This committee included some of the well-known scholars and jurists like 1. Sheikh Muhammad Reza Shirazi, the oldest son of Sheikh Muhammad Taqi Shirazi. 2. Sayyid Hubatuddin Shahristani. 3. Mirza Ahmad Khurasani, a researcher and the son of late Ahmad Khurasani. 4. Sayyid Abul Qasim Kashani. 5. Sheikh Mehdi Khalisi. May they rest in heaven. People alongside the revolution. The strong and firm nation of Iraq, after the issuance of powerful verdicts, tried to prepare people, particularly lively youth in all cities and villages, for persuasive revolution, which would cover the whole bedrocks of all aspects and nation. Britain deceiving again. When the ominous plot for election failed, and when the British colonizer truly realized the heaviness of failure, they attempted planning another horrible plot to maintain their political capability in Iraq. Thus, they, after the election plan, designed a plan called National Movement. Consequently, British ruler Major Newberry summoned some Iraqi well-known figures and announced, "British men are here in Iraq for giving freedom, not colonialism. Therefore, I recommend you to establish the National Committee, so it would observe all the domestic issues to their bedrocks, like political, economical, and social issues." Meanwhile, British government, in the time of need, would willing to advise and counsel. When Iraqi found out how ominous and inane their plan was, they joined the revolutionary group, and they wholeheartedly stood against British colonialism. First step, Jihad. The chiefs of nomads in Farad gathered and headed toward Karbala together so they could express their readiness for obedience and sacrifice to the Grand Ayatollah Sheikh Muhammad Taqi Shirazi. They gathered in his house on Shaban 1st, 1337. Then they asked him to specify their duties for them. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi, in a short speech, stated, I am religiously duty-bound to do jihad by entirely observing all the religious aspects. Sending groups to southern, northern, and middle parts of Iraq. They formed groups from among great scholars, nomadic sheikhs, and Iraqi well-known figures and dispatched them to southern, northern, and middle parts of Iraq. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi ordered to use military power. When the old British colonialism kept on its inhuman treatment, Ayatollah Shirazi issued his second historic verdict. The verdict is as follows. Iraqi people are obliged to demand their rights, and they alongside this issue have to observe peace and security, and to fulfill this, they are allowed to use military power if British people do not answer their requests. Muslims from all parts of Iraq rose from everywhere, not only for persuasive revolution, but also to defend the sanctities. Meanwhile, the outstanding scholars, nomads, and sophisticated people from Najaf had a significant role in this glorious and public gathering. They also played a crucial role in releasing the occupied areas, particularly Najaf, from the British colonizers. Releasing the city of Najaf. When Muslim fighters, through jihad and using all kinds of weapons, managed to release Najaf from the occupying British colonizers, well-known figures and scholars decided to establish 4 independent committees in order to prevent the common and proper negative problems. The committees are as follow. 1. Urban Committee. 2. Ministerial Committee. 3. Administrative Committee. 4. Science Committee. British aircrafts bombing Kufa Mosque. On Zikade 8, 1338, British militants bombarded Kufa Mosque and murdered a group of worshippers, including innocent women and kids, by aerial guns and bombs. Najaf on the next day, Zikade 9, 1338, issued a statement, Al-Haqaq al-Nisa, page 292. Exiled, yet free men of Karbala. British colonizers in this holy battle captivated some famous, sophisticated and nomad sheikhs in Karbala. They violently exiled them somewhere out of Iraq. Here are some of their names: Sheikh Muhammad Reza Shirazi, Sayyid Muhammad Ali Tabatabai, Sheikh Hadi Kamune, Haj Ali Alvan, Abdul Mahdi Al-Qambar, and many others. May all rest in heaven. Releasing the holy city of Karbala. On Zikade 9, 1338, Ayatollah Shirazi ordered to oust the militant ruler in Karbala, who had entered the city with force and violence. He was the one who insulted and threatened Imam Hussein's children. By the issuance of this order, believers of Karbala ousted the British usurper's ruler. Then they established 4 committees to run the country and manage the revolution. The committees are as follow. 1. Science Committee. 2. National Committee. 3. Serving Committee. 4. Revolution Committee. The bloody battles continued for a while, and the brave people of this country gloriously attended these battles in all cities and villages, until they managed to gain victories for Islam and Muslims, and to humiliate and defeat the enemies, oppressors, and transgressors.